Okay, so this video, I do not have a script for it. I didn't write down any notes for it. I just want to completely come out here, go off the top of my head, and see how it goes. Because this is something that's been on my mind for a little while, but I just haven't done anything specifically talking about it, so I figured, yeah, let's go. So I guess the title of this video is pretty straightforward. Like, I think that not just in like weird smutty romances, but romance in general, I feel like there is very rarely actual sexual tension between the people who are supposed to be falling in love. And when I say sexual tension, I don't just mean that in like a lust-filled way, but I also mean that to include like romantic tension, where it seems like, okay, yeah, these people are really into each other. And it never works for me, or rather, I should say, it very rarely works for me. And most of the time when it does work for me, it's with older stuff. Newer stuff that's coming out is noticeably worse in this regard. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about it and why I think that is. So the most recent romance book I read was Gothicana, and you can watch my video on that soon, hopefully. But it's not a very good book for a lot of reasons, but one of the big reasons why it just didn't work for me is that I didn't feel much tension between main character girl and love interest man. You don't need to know their names. They're just MC girl and love interest man. They're the same in all of these types of books. But like the problem is that they meet and she immediately wants him. And it just doesn't quite work because obviously, yes, love interest man is attractive and he's described as being very attractive, sure, but what else is there? You know, sexual tension only arises the same way other types of tension do in storytelling, where you have to anticipate that something is coming. Ha 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 ha. Get it? Yeah, you have to anticipate that something is coming, but you don't know exactly when it's going to happen, and you start feeling like, hey, come on, hurry up, hurry up. And this works the same way whether it's like someone's walking into the house and we know there's a monster hiding in the shadows and we're like, no, no, don't go in there. It works the same way if we know that there's going to be a big battle coming up, like a confrontation between the forces of the Dark Lord and the ragtag group of heroes who are trying to, I don't know, defend the maidens, for whatever. The point is, we know there's a big battle coming up. Tension rises until it reaches a boiling point. And it has to be the exact same with romantic and sexual tension as well. Like if in Gothicana, again as an example, love interest man and main character girl met and they were attracted to each other, but they also felt that they just couldn't be together for one reason or another. Like, I mean, he's a professor at her school, so it would be kind of unprofessional and inappropriate for them to be together, and that does come up in the book a little bit, but not that much. But if main character girl and him had both thought that, and occasionally they wound up in situations where they were close and they like were about to kiss or something, and then they broke it off and went, nope, nope, we can't do that, then that's helping to build the tension. Because at that point, the audience wants them to, you know, do something, but we're not getting it. Whereas the problem with Gothicana, and pretty much every other book like that, is that they all go for instant gratification. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, wait a second, sometimes they take hundreds of pages before they get to the sex scenes or anything, and that is technically true, but there's also no tension being built because they just pop the bubble a little too quick, if that metaphor makes sense. Like, I guess that would be a good metaphor for it. It's like, building tension means you're blowing up the bubble bigger and bigger until eventually it pops, and that's when the tension is released. In something like Fourth Wing, yeah, it does technically take several hundred pages for the sex scenes to happen, but it's also very clear that main character girl, I think in that book her name was Violet, and Xaden, love interest man, were still pretty into each other long before that. Like, at first she's terrified of him because his dad was like the leader of the rebels or whatever, and they forced him to go to this school where he can kill whoever he wants. Because, look, Fourth Wing is a stupid book, but they forced him to go to this school, and main character girl is thinking like, oh no, he might actually try and kill me. And it turns out very quickly, very early on, that no, he wasn't like that at all. Like, he was perfectly fine with her. And in fact, it's pretty obvious to the audience from the get-go that he has no problem with her. She's just being paranoid. So the bubble was barely even pretending to be inflated before it popped, and then we just have this deflated bubble hanging around until eventually they start having sex. So once they do it, it's not that satisfying. Quicksilver was kind of similar as well. Like, it's very clear that main character girl and love interest man are gonna be a thing from very, 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 very early on, and then we're just kind of sitting around looking at our watch and like going, okay, hurry up then. Like, and then they get to the sex and it's not that satisfying because of this. So when I say instant gratification, it is oftentimes like, again, Gothic Hannah, where it does actually happen instantly, and that's really annoying. But in other cases where it might not happen instantly, they still don't bother actually trying to build the tension. Like, it's like they really have no faith in their audience, and they're like, no, okay, I know you want instant gratification. I know you want it. But like, please, just hang around. Just hang around a little bit longer, please. Like, I'll do the thing. You see this? This is the thing. Look. See, I know they were supposed to be doing enemies to lovers, but like, there were enemies for like half a page. They're lovers now. I promise. They start doing the sex yet. Like, that's what it feels like, and it's really, really obnoxious. Now, I can't entirely blame the authors for doing this because, yeah, a lot of the audience is really like that. Like a lot of people will immediately put something down if it doesn't have smut within the first 10 pages or whatever. And they are very, very, I don't know the term for it, but like they need instant gratification all the time. And it's really obnoxious. And this does tie into another problem I've spoken about a little bit, where a lot of authors just seem allergic to the very concept of character development. You know, like they will have a character in the book, or rather all the characters in the book, and they will just immediately, at the beginning, they'll already be good at doing all the things that they're going to do throughout the book, which a lot of time that's like warrior stuff or magic stuff, because it's oftentimes fantasy, but like they're already really good at it at the very beginning, so they don't really need to train or practice or anything to get better over time. And I'm not saying you can't write stories like that, a lot of them are like that, but whatever is useful for the heroes, they're already good at it at the beginning. And whatever beliefs and behaviors and everything they have at the beginning are always going to be the same at the end. Again, you can write static characters in fiction. I'm not saying you can never do that, but these guys are just allergic to the very idea of characters changing. Like, if love interest man shows up and main character girl hates him because, oh, he seems cold or mean or whatever, he doesn't actually change and become less mean or less cold over the course of the story, and that's what makes her fall in love with him. It turns out, no, that was a misunderstanding. He was always super nice and always super cool from the beginning. You were just kind of ignorant about him, but now you know. Now you can be attracted to him and not feel weird about it, and there's no problems in your relationship at all. And that's just not very satisfying. Like, if we're supposed to be watching these characters fall in love, then that's supposed to imply that there's some sort of conflict. Like, that's the point of storytelling, is for there to be some sort of conflict. It doesn't necessarily have to be a violent conflict, but there has to be something there. And characters have to realize at some point that, like, okay, yeah, I need to change, or I need to accept this part of them that I found off-putting before, or they need to change, or, you know, something. Like, there needs to be something going on for there to be some sort of conflict, and therefore some sort of drama, and therefore some sort of story. And when all of the characters all the time are always static and never changing, well, where's the conflict there? It gets even worse in stuff like The Mortal Instruments is coming to mind right now, where Jace, in those books, is a jerk. Now, it's kind of understandable why he would be a jerk, given some of the circumstances surrounding his life and everything that's gone on. It does make sense why he would be kind of a jerk, but they never really show that, okay, he has a heart of gold underneath that. You know, he never really goes out of his way to make it clear that he is a kind person and that he's using his, like, I don't know, sassy, sarcastic exterior as kind of a shield. But at the same time, a lot of characters and the narrators, or in the narration, will just come out and say that that's what he's doing. And obviously this falls into the problem of, like, hey, you should show rather than tell, stuff like that. But also, if you have to have what you're telling match what you're showing. Because in The Mortal Instruments specifically, it really does feel like the author was just making excuses for Jace, and the other characters are just making excuses for Jace so that they can continue being his friend, but it just doesn't make sense for them to want to associate with him or be his friend under these circumstances. So I kind of forget where I was going with this, but basically, a lot of love interests are, bad boys or whatever, but the author and other characters just cannot help but make constant excuses for them, and that is going to lead to, I don't know, not tension, juxtaposition isn't the right word either, but dissonance. There we go, that's the word. And that leads to dissonance for the audience because, like, okay, we're supposed to like this guy, but we don't have any reason to like him? Like, again, if you're going to have somebody be a jerk, you gotta just kind of commit to it, and then that ties into my issue earlier about there never being any character development. Like, yeah, they need to be willing to change. Like, if they start off as a jerk, they need to, at some point, go, okay, you know what? I need to be less of a jerk. I need to be better, and that will make me worthy of being with main character girl who doesn't have a personality and she looks really plain and is sexually inexperienced, but I'm just obsessed with her and only her for some reason. And I know a lot of this seems like very basic romantic subplot writing or romantic plot line writing, but I see it all pretty rarely, and it's been getting more and more rare in recent years. So I don't really know. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about this. If this helps anybody, great, I guess. But mostly I was just ranting because, like, the sexual and romantic tension is never there. And I think that's a big part of the reason why so many romantic subplots just don't work for me. Like, like if they actually committed to there being tension and stuff, then I think it could work okay. Like, I don't love the book Lights Out, but I did read it a couple of months ago, and I thought it was okay, and I think it does a pretty good job of actually building the tension between the leads, because, like, sure, they do kind of ish know each other at the beginning, but the book spends a long time with them getting to know each other and getting to realize, like, okay, this person's just as freaky as I am, and then you know where it goes from there. I don't need to elaborate. But I don't know, this one was just like a weird rant idea I had. Let me know if you want more of these or not. This was just kind of something I wanted to do off the top of my head and decided to finally commit to it. That's all. Thank you for watching this exclusive video. Have a lovely day. I assume you already are subscribed and everything, so I'm not going to hit you with that spiel. Goodbye. Hello, thanks to everyone who watched all the way to the end of the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Do you see all these names here? These are my patrons. These are the guys that send me money over on Patreon. If you want to get your name here, you can give me $5 or more a month. I really appreciate it. You can also become a YouTube channel member. That gives you the same benefits, like having early access to videos and stuff. You just don't get your name on here. Huge thanks to my $10 and up patrons, 3-Day Cat, Arthur D. Gonzalez Martin, Brother Santodes, Carolina Clay, Lexi Delorme, Lord Tiebreaker, Michael and Katie Hake, Mr. A5013, Proscriptions of Zhuo Jiang, Psych XS, Slumbering Jellyfish, Observing Outer Space, Tesla Shark, Toa Michael, Vevictus, and Wesley. I wouldn't be able to do this without all of these people here, as well as all the rest of you. If you can't support me that way, then again, liking the video, commenting on it, sharing it around, subscribing to my channel if you haven't, or just having a lovely day. I guess that helps too. See you around. Goodbye.